We are in a national emergency right now on multiple fronts, and Congress just went on vacation as if nothing's wrong. Who goes on vacation, by the way, when America is burning down all around them? The conspiracy to commit an assassination of the American president, possible multiple shooters with a secret service that told individuals to stand down, a coup that removed a sitting U.S. president. Oh, and by the way, migrant shelters with new information over the weekend overflowing across America with military-aged men from other countries.
Some people who live in one neighborhood want a migrant shelter closed, blaming it for recent acts of violence in the community, including 2 separate shootings.
It's almost as if they don't care what happens to America because Congress will be fine. Americans will suffer and we will have no country left. First of all, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. We couldn't do this without all the rebels out there who subscribe. So thank you and welcome to the rebellion. We have a couple of big news stories that I want to go over this morning that need your attention. But first, there are 99 days left until America changes forever. 99 days left until America votes on November 5th. The next 99 days are the most critical days in America's history, bigger than the election of 1800 when Thomas Jefferson defeated John Adams, bigger than the election of 1864, bigger even than 1968 when Democrats carried out their first major coup in an election against Robert F. Kennedy, assassinating him and then installing Hubert Humphrey at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, a man no one voted for, by the way, but Democratic strongmen in Chicago placed him as the nominee at the DNC. In 18 days from now, in Chicago, history is about to repeat itself at the 2024 Democratic Convention. Democrats are about to install a person no one voted for, a person no one likes, a person who's woefully unprepared to lead America.
Yes, you may clap.
But it doesn't matter. They're going to do it anyway. No, 99 days from now, this country will face the most important election in America's history. I will argue that point with anyone, and I will win that argument when I show you the following points today. First, we have undeniable evidence now that President Obama, yes, President Obama, carried out a modern-day coup on a sitting president of the United States, and he did it out in the open. According to new reporting from Seymour Hersh this weekend, the plan went into action after President Biden had some kind of a major medical emergency on July 17th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Biden was then whisked away after local emergency rooms were alerted that the president was coming in. Instead, they threw him on Air Force One and flew at rocket speed to hide in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. That way, they could keep the secret from reporters. And that was the breaking point, though. And that was the breaking point moment for his boss, President Obama. Now, according to Hersh, President Obama called on Sunday, July 21st to tell him the bad news. Mr. Biden, you're out of a job. You're being replaced. What about the voters? Oh, that didn't matter. Obama had already decided. According to Hersh, quote, Obama called Biden after breakfast and said, here's the deal. You can hear him almost saying that, right? Here's the deal. We have Kamala's approval to invoke the 25th Amendment, he said, end quote. The amendment provides that when the president is determined by the vice president and others to be unfit to carry out the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall assume those duties. An Obama coup officially took place. Now it makes sense. It all makes sense. Why Obama is the only ex-president in a century to officially live in Washington, D.C., bought a house there.
He is the only president that stayed in Washington, D.C., after all of the presidents left and went back home, with the exception of one other who was sick and couldn't move. Barack Obama has stayed there to run this country and to run it into the ground, to destroy it, so they can build it back better in their globalist image. That's where we're heading, folks. I can't say it any clearer.
Your company's workflow could be as smooth as this. With Zoho, the smoothest, easiest, coolest CRM around. Oh, you think CRMs can't be cool? Cue the dashboard.
Oh, makes total sense right now, doesn't it? And as Hersh reports, quote, the official who has decades of experience in fundraising told me that Obama emerged as the strongman throughout the negotiations. Quote, he had an agenda and he wanted to seek it to the end, and he wanted to have control over who would be elected, end quote. In other words, Obama chose the nominee, not the voters. Well, that's going over well with Democrats, especially Black Lives Matter. The same Black Lives Matter protesters that burned American City for 5 months are now furious that Barack Obama would sidestep the will of the voters and select an American presidential candidate. Over the weekend, Black Lives Matter has gone into hyperdrive, slamming Obama and slamming Democrat elites for ignoring the voters. Imagine that. Black Lives Matter is making the point that they fought for decades to get Black Americans the right to vote, and now you're stripping them of their right to vote. Makes sense. Could it have anything to do with the fact that Black voters are ditching the Democrat Party at record pace, instead admitting for the very first time that they're voting for a Republican? They're voting for President Trump?
There's a poll out today, a poll of African-American women showing a 31-point drop in support from 2020 to 2024.